Hello everybody and welcome back to the labs. I am Toasty and today we are doing another module spotlight on Applied Energistics 2. We are moving through this mod in smaller chunks called modules as spotlight videos. And today we're going to be looking at the advanced tools and functions of AE2. We're going to be looking at some of the cool new tools that are added and what they do, and some of the old ones that have just been updated. And we're going to be looking at the advanced function of our buses and our peer-to-peer networks and the crystal growth accelerators. Lots to do. Let's get going. So, you can see I'm back in my world here with our auto crafting network set up over here and the basic network that we were working with the last couple of videos. And I wanted to show you the advanced functions of these buses, but somebody has come and painted one of my smart cables green or pink. Very, very annoying. Now it will not connect because they are not the same color. And while that can be handy, it's not for me, not right now. So I either need to replace it, which I could do, but I had plans for these smart cable and I don't really want to use these cables right here. I didn't want to have to replace that. So instead, I need to find a different way to change the color. Well, thankfully the mod author has given us just that. If we come over here and we look at our ME drive, we can see that we have some storage disk of some sort in here with a couple of paintballs. Well, I told you last time you could put storage drives into your ME chest to access. There are also a couple of other items that you can do that with, one of which is called the color applicator. This is a really cool new item that lets you paint the colors of cables. So if I right click on this, nothing happens. What about this? Well, that's not really helpful. I don't want all pink cables. I know there was green inside of here. Yeah, there's green. Well, what you need to do is if you have multiple colors in the color applicator is shift and scroll with your mouse wheel. You can see it changes colors. It shows you the color on the actual applicator as well as the text above your hotbar. So now I can simply come here and just paint my cables, and look at that. My network is good to go. Very, very cool. So I'm going to throw that in there because I don't need it anymore. And what else did I just toss in there by accident? No idea. Oh well, probably not important. Oh yeah, my terminals. So we finished off last time looking at the basics of networking and the buses. These are all things that use channels in our network. So let's look at a little bit more of what they can do. Of course, the rain. So let's look at some more options here. The buses have limited functionality as they are when you put them down. The import bus, we said, pulls items into the network, and the export bus pushes items out of the network into an inventory. So let me grab a couple of chests. I'm going to grab some from the iron chest mod just so they do not connect to each other to make this a bit easier to see. Let's say I have way too much wood in my inventory. I don't want to keep all of this wood in here. I don't use it very often. Fine. All you need to do is take a piece of wood, come over to your export bus, and put it in the filter. It will begin to push the wood into this chest. Wow, that is slow. Well, we're going to want to speed that up a lot. Thankfully, there are ways of doing that. For all of the buses, there are different cards, and thankfully, every card in Applied Energistics has a little label that tells you what it can be used for, with the exception of the memory card. So if we look up export, because these are all labeled really nicely in these tooltips, when you look up export bus, it will also bring up all of the cards that pertain to this kind of bus. We have capacity cards, crafting cards, fuzzy cards, redstone cards, and acceleration cards. So let's grab one of each of these to look at the different functionality. So we click on our export bus and we have 4 slots. So we don't just get to throw everything in, we need to choose. Well, we know it's going slow. I want to be able to do more than that speed. So if I put my acceleration card in there, it should speed up. Look at that, so much faster. Alright, well that's good. What else do I have in my inventory that I don't want to keep in there any longer? How about we get rid of all of the sandstone? There's a lot in there. It doesn't need to be in there. Click on our export bus and add it to the filter. Well, one of the changes with AE2 is that you can't actually do that. This requires an upgrade. Thankfully for that, we have the capacity card. The capacity card will increase the amount of things that you can filter for the export bus, the import bus, the formation planes, and the storage bus. So now we can add filters to these spots. I could fill them up with this if I wanted to. Don't know why I would, but you could. So that increases the filter from 1 option to 5 options. And if you were to put another capacity card in there, you would have access to all 9 options. However, we kind of want to save those upgrade slots for other things. So maybe we don't always want it pumping out items. Let's put our oak back in there. And let's grab this out and put it back in our main system. And see how quickly it gets drawn out. Well, that's great, but I don't really always want it doing that. So I'm going to give it the redstone card and say, you require a signal to be active. Now if I come over here, oh, looks like I didn't do it fast enough. Let's put some more in here. Well, instead, you can see that that extra piece of wood, that extra stack of wood, isn't getting pumped out. It's actually just sitting there waiting for me to give it a redstone signal. So let's do that. Let's give it a lever. Lever. Now we're getting more wood. That is the function of the redstone upgrade. We get to choose whether we want it to activate once per pulse, always active, active without signal, or active with a signal. This can be really handy for automating certain amounts of items. One of the best ways that this is useful is another item that we haven't looked at yet called the level emitter. The level emitter is a really simple little tool. What it says is you get to pick an item or a certain amount of energy and say, when this item matches a certain amount within our network, turn my redstone signal on or off. So for argument's sake, let's get rid of that. Oh, I turned that on. Good job. Okay. So now we're looking at this. It's glowing already. That's because it doesn't have a filter. Let's say, so long as you have more than 1 stack. Oh, that is not a stack at all. 1 stack of oak wood, turn your signal on. So when the levels of oak wood in the system are above or equal to 64, this redstone signal will be on. And let's say only pump out with a redstone signal. Now I haven't tested this in the same block. I'm not sure if that signal will cross over, but we're about to find out. It does not appear so. So what you actually need to do is this. Take that off, put that cable back up. I don't know what it's doing over there. Make it day, and just give it another spot here. Come on, get off of there. Give me back my level emitter. Let's try this again. It's actually really, really hard to get on. So I can do it this way. There we go. And now it's pumping out the oak wood. So once this is done, we should see that there is at least a stack of oak wood left in our system when this turns off. Although we haven't actually set that filter because it gets removed when you move the bus. So if I take this, come back over here and throw it in there, you should see that this comes on, and when it hits 64 or less in the system, it will turn off. So now we have 63. That's close enough. So once you hit the right amount in the level emitter, and you can change it to be below or above, the level emitter will turn on or off its redstone signal as you have had it set, and it'll affect the world around it. So that can be really, really handy. You can say, you know, so long as I have more, well, let's say this is always a really good one to do. If I have less than a stack of glass, export sand into a furnace. That way you always have some sand or some glass on hand because it's used in a lot of recipes, especially with Applied Energistics 2. So that's that. The same functionality can be given to the import bus. Only pull things in, maybe you have a cobble gen, only pull things in to my system when I have less than 64 pieces of cobble in my ME system. So that is the redstone card and the level emitter. The level emitter can also take an upgrade, and that's the fuzzy card. And that will say, well, we'll look at that in a second, actually. That'll apply to several of these. So we've got our redstone card, our capacity card, and our acceleration cards taken care of. Now let's look at the crafting card. This is unique to ME interfaces and ME export buses only. Basically, Applied Energistics 2 has a way of auto-crafting things. Now, if you're always spitting out items, for example, if I wanted to say, you know what, only give me these oak wood logs, not the planks, because I'm always going to need them. Maybe I'm building a base with them or something, who knows. But let's say I have these oak wood logs here, and let's just get rid of this because I don't need it anymore. Alright. It will only export the oak wood logs because I've told it to. Well, with this crafting card, what you can say is maybe your system knows how to make the oak wood logs. That is always handy. However, you may not want it to use your oak wood logs to make the planks. You may just want to use what planks you have on hand. The crafting card lets you choose whether or not your system will export items that you have on stock before crafting items, or if it will export items that you have on stock only, or sorry, that'll export only items it crafts. So if I have a stack of dark wood in my inventory in my ME system, it won't matter. It'll still take one piece of dark wood log, craft it into a plank, and then export it. It won't use that one stack. So that only makes sense if you have an understanding of how the auto crafting system works. I would recommend you go check out that module Spotlight if that is very, very confusing for you. Otherwise, that's the function of the crafting card. Now we have one last card for the export bus. Let's just get rid of these to clean things up a little bit. And that is the fuzzy card. Now the fuzzy card allows us to sort of pick and choose how accurate this export bus is. So maybe I have all kinds of wood in my system and I just want to export all of the wood. So I got some oak, I got some spruce, some birch, and some jungle, and I'm just going to throw it all in here. There we go. So we got all these different kinds of woods. Now, because our export bus has a piece of wood in it and has a fuzzy card on it, it will slowly export all the different kinds in the ore dictionary, usually. Maybe wood is a bad example. It does seem that way. Let me show you another way of this. Let's get some copper ore. I have lots of different copper ore because I am playing with a mod pack that has several different mods that generate copper ore. Everybody seems to like using copper. So much so that I have at least 4, I think 5 different kinds of distinct copper ore. No, it's probably 4. I got thermal foundation, which is the one I'm missing. Where are we? Thermal foundation copper. There we are. I got Industrial Craft 2, Tinker's Construct copper, Mechanism copper, and Blue Power copper. There's a system set up within Forge that allows other mods to recognize different kinds of, or different mods' ores, so long as they're labeled a certain way in the code. This fuzzy bus can be really handy. Let's say I want all of my copper ore to be exported. Well, clearly I'm only putting the mechanism kind in here. With the fuzzy export bus, did I break something? I believe I did. Let's put that redstone card back in here. See, I accidentally left it active with signal instead of always active when I took out the redstone card, which is why it wasn't working, I believe. So now it's set up to export copper ore into this chest. But it doesn't want to for some reason. It's very, very bizarre. Well, really what should be happening right now is that all of the different kinds of copper ore should be getting spit out into this chest. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take this bus and get rid of it, because it seems to be somewhat broken. Let's try this again, shall we? I'm sure you get the idea by now, but I am a little confused as to why this isn't working. It worked for me earlier. We have a channel. We have our fuzzy card in our export bus set to match any. Let's put our copper ore in the filter. There we go. It is slowly exporting. So let's speed this up. Let's get a couple of a capacity card and a couple accelerator cards. Boom, boom. And then let's put our wood in there as well, because I was pretty sure that would work, and for some reason it didn't. Turns out it was a broken card. That is a redstone card. I want a capacity card. There we go. So now you'll see it's spitting out wood, all the different kinds. It spit out all the different kinds of copper. It just needed a little reboot. So it goes to show that Applied Energistics 2 is very much like your computer at home. When it's broken, try and restart it, everything will be good. My export bus didn't want to work. I gave it a reboot. We're good to go. So the fuzzy export bus does really one thing. It makes the ID between the two items a little bit blurry. It knows it's wood, it just doesn't know what kind. And that can be very, very handy, especially when playing in mod packs when you have 5 different kinds of copper and you just want to turn it all into ingots. Well, put one piece of copper ore in an export bus with a fuzzy card, and away we go. Hook it up to a furnace and you should be ready to cook all the ore you would ever need or want. Many of the import buses cards are the exact same. In fact, it only has a capacity, fuzzy, redstone, and acceleration option. So we already know how all those work. It's the same for those, and it is similar for the storage bus. In the storage bus, we cannot see our cards when we look up storage for some reason. I didn't know that. Well, let's look up our card and see what we can do. Let's see our storage bus. It can use a capacity card. It can use a fuzzy card. It can use, is that storage bus? Yeah, an inverter card. It can use, that's it. So we already know what the capacity card does. In this, it just adds another row of items that we can set to keep in the storage bus. So for example, if I wanted wood in here and I got all of this stuff out, there we go. Let's just disable this here. Woo! And we're cruising. Get that out of there. All right. So now if I set this up to be wood, I could also put all the different kinds of wood across here, and it would give it a storage. Now I have already given it a higher priority, so pretty much everything that I put in the system is going in here. Well, I don't want that. I just want it to do wood, but I want it to do all of the different kinds of wood. So I'm going to give it a piece of wood to set the filter, and I'm going to give it a fuzzy card, which I seem to have deleted for some reason. Or I'm just blind. There it is. I'm going to give it a fuzzy card, tell it to match any, and I'm going to go start and put all of my wood and things back into the ME system. Now if we look here, we'll see that different kinds of wood have made their way into this chest because that is what is on the storage bus. Simple enough. So fuzzy card sort of does the same thing as it does in all the other ones. The inverter card is interesting. It can be handy as well. The capacity card adds extra rows as options, And that is all we need to talk about for those two. The inverter card is really quite simple. Right now, the storage bus filter is set to whitelist, so only things that I put in here are allowed into there. That's what the concept of a whitelist is. Sometimes, though, we want to put everything that we get into a chest except maybe one item. So let's, for example, say we wanted to have all of our ore in this chest, but no stone or anything else that we put in there. All we have to do is put the stone in here, or the limestone. We don't want any smooth sandstone, and put the inverter card in. Now it's a blacklist. Everything can go in except what I've put down. That's the concept of the inverter card. Simple enough. Blacklist, whitelist, switch. That is about it. So now as we begin to close off here, let's really quickly go over the last couple tools and the P2P channels. So you can also see that this is a charged staff. This essentially acts as a sword that runs on power. I can attack the sheep and it will kill it. This is from AE2 as well, and it's really quite simple to make. You just need to stick it in a charger and you're good to go. Then we have the entropy manipulator. This essentially changes the entropy within the atoms in the block, I guess is one way of saying it. But what happens if I click on this, you'll see nothing really happens. That's because it's already stone, right? So if I shift right click on it, it turns it to cobblestone. If I just right click on it, it turns it back to stone. So it kind of heats it up. Let's see, there's some sand over here. What do you think is going to happen if I right click it now? It turns to glass. And that's a nice, easy way of getting glass. Unfortunately, there's no backwards for glass. You can't really turn glass back into sand, but that's the idea. So you can click on things in the world and see what happens. It turned my gravel into concrete. That is really interesting to me, actually. So that is the entropy manipulator. Then we have the matter cannon. The matter cannon works very similar to the color applicator. It needs to have something in it. Matter balls are one option. You can stick the matter balls in it the same way you do with the different paint balls. In fact, the matter balls are used as a recipe component for the paint balls, and I'll show you how to get those in just a second. Once you have put your ammo inside your matter cannon and given it a charge, you can fire it like a gun and it will dig, it will hurt entities and mobs and different things, and it is a lot of fun to play with. The density of the matter affects how strong the shot is. So if this works the same way it used to, I can come over here, put this guy back in, get rid of the matter balls, and get some lead nuggets. Let's put some lead nuggets in here. Lead seems like a fairly heavy material to me. It's pretty dense. If I take it over here now and I fire away, you can see it goes a bit deeper and it kills a bit quicker. So that's the idea. Put some ore nuggets into it or the matter balls. In order to get matter balls, all you need to do is trash some items. So I'm going to stick this on top of here. It does not require power. It does not require a network control. I just decided to put it here. If I put my smooth sandstone in here right now, it would just destroy it. It's essentially a trash can. Another option is to condense them into matter balls. Now you'll see that nothing happened. That's because you need some sort of storage holder. So the best thing that you can throw in there, depending on what you need, are these storage components. You can start with the smallest one if you'd like. If I throw my sandstone in there, you'll see I gained a little bit of stored energy. Once I get 256 stored energy, it will create some matter balls for me. Simple enough. It just condenses junk into energy. Bam. 256 equals 1 matter ball. So if I set up a cobble gen in here, I could have infinite matter balls. This has one more function. It creates a singularity, and you need 256,000 energy. For that, you're going to need a bigger storage canister. This can only hold 8,000 energy. Let's throw the second last one in there. This can hold 131,000. Still not enough. We put the biggest storage component, the 64K, we can see that it will hold enough energy to create a singularity. We'll go over what to do with those in another module spotlight. But I said I would get to these, and I want to do this, and we're over time already. In the basics, I showed you the growing of the pure quartz seeds. Basically, you throw them in, they take an eternity, but they will grow. These guys here, if you connect them to a power source, in this case, we're going to use our already existent creative power network. If you connect these guys here to a power source, they will boost the rate at which these grow quite significantly. They have to connect on one of these sides. You can rotate this so they stand up, so this is on the top, or you can leave them on the side like this. And basically, you need to connect power to all of them. If you're using ME power, it will continue to go through. They drain a lot of power, a lot of power. But once you've done that, you can see that these things grow much quicker. Without these, they wouldn't even be at 1%. So this is a good way to work your way towards getting fast, pure quartz. It is possible to automate this process, and I will show you that in another spotlight as well. But for now, that was everything I'm going to show you except the peer-to-peer tunnel, and I will do that right now. The last thing we're going to look at then is these peer-to-peer tunnels. There's different kinds, but you can really only craft one. That is the ME peer-to-peer tunnel. It's quite simple, some fluids, a processor, and some iron. Basically what these do is these move different kinds of material data across your network. So let's say I have some lava. Let's get a couple buckets of lava and a creative tank. And let's get some tanks from open blocks, shall we? Because they are pretty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a peer-to-peer tunnel. Starting here, I'm going to put my creative tank down. And I'm going to come down a block and throw a peer-to-peer tunnel there. Right now, it's not going to do anything. In fact, if I pick this up, you'll see that it's just a white tunnel. What you need to do is hit it with a bucket of something, any fluid. It can even be an empty bucket. It will change it to a peer-to-peer tunnel. That's how you configure these to work. That's how you configure what they're going to send and receive through. So then I'm going to put my tank down, and I'm going to throw some lava in there. Easy. Okay. So let's say we have some open blocks tanks over here, or any other kind of tank. Woo, lag. Put our other peer-to-peer tunnel here, and we will throw some smart cable down. Right now, nothing's happening because it A, doesn't know what kind it is, or it doesn't know where to get information from. For that, we need a memory card. Take your memory card, shift right-click on a peer-to-peer tunnel. It says successfully saved settings. And then shift right-click again. Shift right-click on the one you want. And then just right-click on the other end of the peer-to-peer tunnel. It will then load the settings. So as you'll see though, this is not actually pumping anything. That's because it does not suck up items all on its own. Stuff needs to be pushed into them. So let's just get a fluid conduit from Ender.io. It's an easy one to set up real quick, which is why I'm doing this. Set it to extract, and it will pull lava out and pump it into this peer-to-peer channel. And you'll see it comes out over here. This works with energy from most mods, and it works with items as well. You can see you can do it with EU, items, light, which would be really cool to play with, fluid, ME stuff, MJ power, RF power, and redstone signals. So you can get really automated. You can control your whole base using ME and transfer it all through these cables if you set it up properly. To configure these in different ways, you're going to have to figure out what items you need to right-click onto the face of them to configure them for different objects. So if you want to click an item on, if you want to use them to transfer items, do not right-click them with a bucket, right-click them with something else. You can play around and figure that out for yourself, or you can check out the link below to the AE2 website where it explains this exactly how they work, and it explains what you need to click to set them up in what way. We're a little over time now, so until then, I have been Toasty, and next time we will go over the last few remaining blocks in AE2 modules. If you have any questions, leave some comments down below, and let me know if you guys like this, or If you have anything else to add, just give me a shout, or want me to cover anything else, just add that to the comment below. Until then, the sun is going down, and it seems like a good time to call it a day.